Hello. So, in the mathematics previous lecture, we were discussing about the basic shapes like square, rectangle, triangles, and polygons. So, a very important, another very important basic figure or diagram or shape is a circle. So, in this lecture, we will talk about the circle. Uh, Literally speaking, you know what a circle is, but in this lecture we will be talking about the terminologies used and how we are going to deal the circle in mathematics. So this is how we draw a circle, a basic of circle. For example, ball, bangle, lemon, coin. However, these are 3D figures, and circle is a two-dimensional. Like it can also can only be drawn on a paper. That is what a two-dimensional figure means. But how? Just to give you an idea, uh, a, a, a diagram of ball drawn on a paper would be in the shape of circle, and same for the other three items examples: the bangle, lemon, and the coin. So physically, we cannot call a ball a circle. It would be a sphere. But when a ball is drawn on a paper, it would be a two-dimensional figure. So if drawn on a paper, then we can call it a circle. So from the center of the circle, the distance between the center of the circle and the boundary of the circle is known as the radius. So if, for example, in this diagram, the center is at point O, in this point at the middle, and the point A is at the boundary of the circle. So the distance between point O to point A would be the radius of the circle. The definition of a circle is in a plane, each point of the circle is at equal distance from a fixed point. The fixed point is called the center of the circle. What does that mean? If you like the radius of the circle would be constant throughout. The radius means the distance of any point on the boundary of the circle from that point to the center of the circle. So that the radius that would be from the center of the circle to the any point in boundary would be same. So that is why we can say that each point of the circle is at equal distance from a fixed point. So okay, we have already done this. The distance from the circle center when any point on the circle is called the radius of the circle. Let me draw you like what does that mean? If I draw a line from here to here, so that would also be the radius of the circle. This would also be the radius of the circle. So all of these lines, this line, this line 1, this line 2, this line 3, and for example this line 4. So the length of all these lines 1, 2, and 3 and 4 are equal in magnitude. So a line segment passing through the center of the circle and whose endpoints lie on the circle is called the diameter of the circle. So basically, if we double the length of the radius, uh, for example, from 0 to point B, from the center to point B is the radius of the circle. So if we double the radius of the circle, we would get the diameter. So a diameter would be a line from any point, like I'm starting from here, from any point of the boundary, and that connects to another point of the boundary, but it has to pass through the center. So if a line connects, it starts from one point of the circle boundary, and it ends at another point of the circle boundary, that is known as diameter, but it has to pass through the center point. If it does not pass through the center point like this, it would not be called as a diameter. We will see what it in the next slide. What are we going to call this line? But for for a line to be a diameter, it has to pass through the center point. As you can see that the distance and the length of this line is greater than this line, and for example, this line also connects the 2 point on the 2 point to any 2 points on the boundaries. So this is the smaller one, this is the larger one, this is the largest. So we cannot say that all of these are diameters. A diameter has to pass through the central position, but this line would be equal to this line. For example, I am going to name them now. The line 1, if we say this line 1, so line 1 would be equal to the line 2. So as the radius was throughout equal, so the diameter of the circle is also same no matter at what point of the circle we are standing on. The length of the circle or the distance around it is called the circumference of the circle. For example, you have a row of length 10 feet, and what you do is you uh, place place it as a circle. So for example, initially you had a long rope like this, and what you did is uh, you joined these two ends like this and gave it a shape of circle. So in this example, you know that the initial length of the rope was 10 feet. So the boundary of this circle would also be 10 feet because it is made up of a rope from it is made up from a rope of 10 feet. But for example, if you don't know about the original length of the rope from which the circle is made, so how you can know the parameter? And parameter is basically the of length of the circle, like this length of the circle. Parameter would be this length of the circle. Okay, so the line segment whose both end touches the circumference and passes through the center is called the diameter now. So initially, I was calling it a boundary, but the definition is a little bit changed now. The line segment whose both the ends touches the circumference or the boundary and passes through the center is now called as the diameter. So relation between radius and the diameter, I've already told you that diameter is basically double of the radius, or radius is half of the diameter. And if diameter of the circle is 10 centimeter, then find its radius. So the radius would be 5 centimeter. If radius of the circle is 6 centimeter, then find the diameter of the circle. So the radius is 6, the diameter would be the double of it, so the diameter would be 12 centimeters. The circumference is, we will later on we will talk about the value of pi. Uh, to find the circumference, we have to multiply the diameter of the circle with the value of pi. The value of pi is approximately equal to 3.1412. But in this case, just for the understanding, they have approximated it as a value of 3. Actually, it is 3.1412, but just to like as an estimate, you can round it off to 3 to have a rough idea of what would be the circumference. So find the circumference approximate of the circle whose diameter is 10. So if the diameter is 10, then we have to multiply it by 3.1412. But in this case, we have to like estimate it. So we can simply multiply it with by 3. So the circumference or the boundary of the circle would be equal to 30 centimeters. So this is just a summary of what we have done in this presentation. Let me open the second presentation to have a more insight about the circle terminology. So we have done this, the radius and the diameter. So if a segment or a line join 2 points on a circle, 2 points at the circumference of the circle, but it does not pass through the center, that line is known as chord. So chord like diameter is always same. If you begin with any point of the circle, but the length of chord, it can vary. The length of this chord would be much less than the length of this chord. But if I draw two diameters on this circle, for example, this is diameter 1 and this is a line showing diameter, just different coordinates. So the length of these two lines would be equal, but the length of these two chords would not be equal. The line that intersects the circle at exactly 2 points is known as secant. This is just like some terminologies that is used to define circles. Uh, Tangent is a line that intersects a circle at exactly 1 point. So to intersect the circle at only 1 point, it has to like touch its boundary only. So for example, if the line was passing through like this, it would have been a secant because it intersects with 2 points on the circle. Same would have been the case with this line. But to we cannot like draw a line like this, although it intersects a circle at exactly 1 point, but if we extend the line, so again it would be intersecting the circle at 2 points. So for a line to intersect at only 1 point, it has to pass like this. This intersects at 2 points. So for intersecting at 1 point, it should just touch the circumference of the circle and pass away. So at using this technique, now this line it intersects the circle at only 1 point, and this is that point. Same is the case with this line, it intersects the circle but exactly at this point, so this is only 1 point. So if a line that intersects the circle at exactly 1 point, that is known as tangent. Next slide, central angle. So an angle whose vertex is at the center of the circle. What does this mean? It means that the central angle in this case would be this one. So if the vertex of is at the center or at the center of this point, if this point of an angle is at the center of the circle, we can call it as the central angle. So other examples of central angle would have been the central angle between A, B, A, ABD, so that would have been this. So for central angle between CBD, that would have been this. So these are the examples for central angle. Inscribed angle, an angle whose vertex is on a circle and whose sides are determined by two chords. Uh, Not important right now. It may be important when we will talk about some circles in advanced. An arc is a figure consisting of 2 points in a circle. Not important right now, but an arc is a part of the circle boundary. For example, this part of the circle boundary starting from A to B. We can even extend it up to this position. If we extend it up to the C position, so the arc length would be from A to C now. A figure consisting of 2 points on a circle and all the points on the circle need to be connecting them by a single path. So this is what an arc means. Intercepted arc, an arc that lies in the not important right now. So I am going to skip this one. Not important. So I'm going to skip these. So we will. That's it for the circles. Now I will have some little talk about some physics.